Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Northern Minutemen podcast. I'm Mike, and I'm joined here with Sam.
Howdy, howdy.
And this is episode 9, I believe.
I think you're right.
And just like last week, it just keeps getting better.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I think we're
so
finally in the groove.
yeah, and I'm thankful for that because the more we do this, the more I feel like we're finding our direction. And none of these podcasts are scripted, but they're
I don't know if we're finding our direction. I just think we have a lot to talk about.
yeah, and maybe we're just finding more of what's not only what's relevant, but what people want to hear.
Yeah.
And that makes for a good podcast.
Have you been taking polls? How do you know what people want to hear? I think we're just guessing.
Well,
Just throwing darts at a board and like, hey, this isn't an interesting topic. Let's talk this through.
thankfully we are in the business of firearms, and there are a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe we're just fortunate to realize that if we want to talk about it, there are people that want to talk about it with us.
That's true. And yeah, being in the firearms industry, like it ties in with so many other conversations, you know,
Yeah.
whether it be politics or religion or, freedom,
Yeah. Eh,
infringement.
I love that nothing's off the table, and I don't mean that as a rated R um disclaimer, but faith, God, our country, the church, it all can get talked about.
That is a fact. Can we just dive right in today
Yeah,
since nothing is off the table?
let's jump in.
So today we're going to talk about a super controversial subject, conspiracy theory. You and I briefly talked about it before we jumped into this episode, but I feel like a lot of people are going to have a lot to say about this subject, and that's why we're going to talk about it. Cuz everybody is either exceedingly for it or exceedingly against it. There's really no middle ground.
None.
None.
Wow.
Okay, so I had a friend of mine that I have known for 10 years. We've been in the gun business together. He owns his own gun business. He doesn't have a store or anything, but he's a super interesting guy that I met a long time ago on the gun show loop. The beginning of Off Grid was the gun show loop. So within a 300-mile radius, I would take all my guns and I would set up shop for the weekend in a random city, in a random town, and do business there. And I met him there. And he's been a friend of mine since. He comes in 2 or 3 times a year and sells us just a boatload of guns. He turns a whole bunch of inventory, and then he'll take a bunch of inventory, and we do a whole bunch of horse trading back and forth. Well, yesterday he came into the store, and I got a Modus from him, and he brought 35 other weapons with. So I ended up getting 36 guns from him.
Now, for everyone that doesn't know, what is a mod deuce?
It's the holy grail of guns.
Yes.
It is the holy grail of guns. It's literally the biggest weapon a civilian can own without any special requirements. It is a tripod mounted Browning M2 belt fed 50 cal gun. It has a really long title. It's belt fed on a tripod. It's glorious.
Fully automatic.
This is a semi-auto version. Yeah, they make them in semi-auto. So this is a gun that any normal Joe Schmo can buy with a driver's license and a permit to carry.
Based on my training and experience, do you want that to be a fully automatic Browning?
No, because I cannot afford the ammo. But yes, I take that back. Yes, I want it
Yeah.
to be a fully automatic
Yeah.
M2 Browning. I've never had one. This is my 5th M2 HB. Glorious. It's got a night vision scope on it from Vietnam. It is obnoxiously huge. But anyways, he came because I wanted that gun, and then the other 35 he brought because he knew I would buy them. So I ended up buying 36 from him. But while we were doing our deal, I looked at his ball cap and it said, "The earth is flat." And I was like, cool hat.
Mm.
I was like, he goes, yeah, it's awesome. He goes, it starts a lot of amazing conversations with people when I'm at restaurants and people walk by and they'll say something and it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
And I was like, so do you truly believe the earth is flat? He's like, oh yeah. And I took a step back and I was like, dude, I've known you for 10 years. I did not know you were a flat earther. And I was like, I have so many questions. And the first one, I was like, what makes you think the earth is flat? And he said to me, well, it says so in the Bible. And, I'm not a Bible expert. I don't have a master's degree in divinity or anything like that, but I've spent 17 years studying the word. And I know nothing. I am the last guy that has the right or the ability to quote scripture to anybody. And I've been studying for 17 years. And I said, where in the Bible does it say that the earth is flat? And he quoted scripture to me. And I was amazed. And actually, the verses that he used, I'm just going to give you a few of them. He said in Revelation 7, it says, and after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And Isaiah 11:12, he will raise a banner for the nations, and he will assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So he was using that four corners reference as this means the earth is flat. And then the last one he referenced was in Isaiah 66:1. He said, God declares, heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. And he said, have you ever seen a round footstool? And instantly I said, no. And he goes, there you go. There's your proof.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, I'm struggling with this here because I know and respect this man. I'm not judging him. I'm just amazed that he believes something so bizarre
Something so out there.
that's out there. I mean, and
Well,
everybody he encounters at a restaurant, he'll ask them, why do you think the earth is flat? Well, I learned it in grade school. And he tells them, you've been indoctrinated to believe that. You believe the earth is round because a globe in a classroom is round. Say something, Mike. I know you're wordless. You're speechless. Where do you go? Where do you go from here?
don't go too far. You'll fall off the earth.
I told
It's
him, I was like, dude, I was in a nuclear power submarine. We circumnavigated the globe. Like, we went from point A all the way around and ended. And he's like, no, you didn't.
welcome to the Matrix. It's this conspiracy theory or this belief that the Earth is flat. Is it flat and square? Is it flat and round? Is it a two-dimensional circle?
I've actually seen models of a flat Earth, and it's round, but it's a disc.
I've heard of people argue. I've heard of flat earthers argue the shape of this flat Earth.
I believe you. I believe you.
It's
There's a documentary on Amazon Prime about the flat Earth debate.
hmm,
And before we leave today, I'm going to tell you what the name of that documentary is. But I watched it, and this was like 3 weeks ago, and it was really well done. And it was a documentary, and it was following around the leader of the flat Earth movement. Like, he started this movement like 14 years ago or something.
how wealthy has he gotten from this?
He actually lives with his mom
Oh my!
in her basement. And I'm not saying that in jest. Literally in the documentary, he lives at home with his mom in her basement.
So he's not gotten wealthy off this movement.
No, he's gotten famous,
Huh.
but wealth has not come with it. Like in the flat earth space, he's like the guy. Like they pay him to come speak at their events and he makes appearances.
I don't know what to say.
What do you think, Mike? Is the earth flat?
Well, no, it's not.
Are any of our fans, are any of our podcast listeners flat earth people?
I hope so.
Please share it in the comments. Tell us what you think. Is the earth flat?
And if you think it's flat, I'm proud of you for sticking to what you believe.
Yeah.
I don't think it's flat. In fact, I'm certain it's not flat. I've been a fan of NASA and not astrophysics. That's above my intelligence. But you know, galaxies and space and planets that are around and orbit because of their center of gravity.
Truman Show.
Yeah,
So another thing that he mentioned, flat earthers believe that the earth is surrounded by a firmament, which is basically a dome.
I s-
And NASA and the US government has been trying to crack through it since the beginning of the space age. And they've been trying to crack it to see what's on the other side of this firmament. And he said that Hillary Clinton slipped up in a press conference a while back, and she mentioned that the firmament had like 1,300 cracks in it, but they were yet to get through. I was lost. I changed the subject.
yeah.
I did.
I think in order to maintain a friendship, you had to.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's cool, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you can believe that. That's right on. I mean, I've been to, I don't know, I've probably been to 13 or 15 or 17 countries. on land and in air and on sea.
I mean, when you're in I've been at sea on the USS Peleliu, and seeing the horizon, was it 12 approximately 12 nautical miles?
It's actually farther than that.
Is it?
They say it's 12 nautical miles, but it's much farther than that.
Like, if you're on the sea,
Hmm?
it's
But what's cool is, yeah, like if you're watching a carrier come up over the horizon, which we've done, you see the conning tower, and then you see the upper decks, and then you see the main body. I mean, you watch it come up.
and that wouldn't happen if the Earth was flat.
But what if this disc had a slight conical shape to it?
What if that conical shape kept going until it met its way back around on the other side?
Touche. You got me. I was a flat earther. Now I believe it's round. Way to go. You did it in
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Let's share this and get them all fixed. There's truth in this podcast. Thank you for those who listen. Please do reshare and retweet.
Moral of the story is you're going to meet some weird, interesting people out there that
Mhm.
have some weird, interesting beliefs. And don't be afraid of them. Don't judge them. Just ask questions.
Right. And
Yeah.
of all bizarre, weird beliefs and theories, I'm glad, or I hope that's where their weirdness ends. I mean, their curiosity. I hope that's where it stops.
It usually doesn't.
Don't say
It
that.
usually doesn't. Because, I mean, if you believe that the earth is flat, what else is off limits?
Well, figuratively and literally, the sky's the limit.
Too soon, Mike. Too soon.
What other theories are out there?
Foot,
Well,
the Yeti,
I've seen Bigfoot.
aliens. Aliens are real.
Aliens, like, from Ecuador?
No, not Ecuadorian aliens. I'm talking little green men
Little green.
from space.
You know, I'm certain that out there somewhere, there's got to be other forms of life.
I personally don't believe in aliens.
I don't know if there are aliens, but there's this theory. It's not even considered a conspiracy theory, but the whole a couple of years ago, the Avengers was a big thing,
Yep.
and jumping through to different galaxies, and there are so many galaxies out there that there are thousands and thousands of different versions of you and I doing this podcast right now. One version where we're both blonde, one version where we're both, just it's bizarre how
Oh,
many
you're,
different.
you're talking about parallel universes,
Thank you.
the metaverse.
Yeah, I knew there was a fancy name for it. I just didn't know what it was
Yep.
called. I don't know if that is necessarily true.
Alternate realities of Mike, where you're actually Jason Momoa in another parallel universe, and you have like long dreadlocks, and you actually play Aquaman.
I hope I never meet that Mike. I can enjoy that movie because it's not me. But yeah, it's bizarre that that theory even exists. And I think somebody with a big mouth spoke and people listened because it's just, if there are that many versions of us and the human race out there with that theory, then we're all trying to find each other.
Yeah.
And why hasn't that happened yet? Because it'll never happen. And we have existed far too long to not have found other forms of life if they were out there.
Well, what my buddy was saying is that aliens are real. It's just the government is keeping that knowledge from us. And the way that they prove that this has happened is if you look at technology in the 90s, like around 47, 48, I mean, a microchip had how many circuits in it?
Not very many.
Yeah, like
4, 2
5 or 10. And now, today in 2024, how many circuits are in a microchip?
millions.
Millions.
Yeah,
And they're saying our technology boosted, it jumped, it advanced after the government got a hold of an alien spaceship in Roswell.
not because of the thousands of people that have worked hours tirelessly and hours upon hours.
Yeah, and I mean, a computer used to be the size of off grid, 5,500 square feet, and now the world's fastest computer is actually right here in my hand.
And that computer that was the size of an entire room would make all sorts of lights and blinks and noises to
Yeah.
give you a yes or no answer on a piece of paper. And now there's more technology in that phone than there was on the Apollo.
It has to
You know.
be alien technology.
Yeah, because we're just too dumb to do it ourselves. If there are other creatures and other life forms and other civilizations somewhere in the vast expanse of space. What I would like to know is what kind of firearms do they have? You know, what gun laws do they or do not have? Maybe in this metaverse there is a United States of America where the Second Amendment is agreed upon by all, and infringement or an attempted infringement on that Second Amendment will take you to the town square to be hung. According to this metaverse theory, that's out there somewhere, and if that is a reality, send me if you're looking for volunteers. I'll take notes and come back and let you know how to do it right, or let our government know how to do it right. But I mean,
There would also be a metaverse where America is like Australia, and you
yeah.
can't even say the word firearm without being canceled.
But the universe that is doing it right, we just start Star Wars on a metaverse quest to be done with them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they're out there and there's unison and they all agree that it's bad and we shouldn't have firearms, then leave them alone. But when they travel to this planet and tell us that it's bad, they're going to learn real quick what a well-regulated militia can do. But yeah, just imagine for a minute what kind of firearms, if we're the dummies here and some spacecraft is giving us our technology, what kind of firearms do they have? Do they have EDM guns or Halo type guns?
I guarantee it's going to be a plasma type weapon that turns everything into a well cooked steak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can get
That's
behind that. And the other one, you little pistol pull you out and it turns into a nice tall scotch. There we go. Waste not, want not. If you're dying, what's your final wish? I want to be a porterhouse. It's not cannibalism if it's consent.
it's so weird. Oh.
Let's start that conspiracy theory. Let's start a new one. It's wild what people. I was reading on firearmsnews.com earlier today that there was a lawsuit filed against the Trump administration because of their interpretation of the Second Amendment.
Really?
They expected Trump to fully do away with the NFA and to take short-barreled pistols, some semi-automatic rifles, off of the NFA list and just dissolve it. And because they didn't, because Donald Trump didn't do it for this bizarre small group of people, that he's the bad guy now.
So I kind of agree with that. The reason that suppressors and short barreled rifles and short barreled shotguns are on the NFA list is because they were a taxable item.
Right. And this started in what, 1934?
Yeah,
Yeah.
1934. And now that it's no longer a taxable item,
They should be
it
off.
shouldn't be an NFA
Right.
item, but it still is going to be an NFA item after January 1. But the funny thing about government, as a civilian, we think that zero has no meaning. Like zero has no meaning. In the government, $0 is an amount. Like zero is something.
We as a statistician, it has, it
Yeah.
holds value.
Zero has a value. It has a value of zero. So, yes, it's a non taxable item, therefore shouldn't be an NFA item. But according to the government, zero is it's a number and it does mean something. And that's why it's still an NFA item, which I fully disagree with.
No, I agree. I completely agree. Maybe I read the article wrong. I think that they were just throwing it seemed like it was radical
Oh,
conservatives and a very small concentrated group of very passionate people that again think that the Second Amendment should be untouched. Case law should never challenge it. It should be gospel.
you and I talked about this
Yeah.
last episode, and I think both of us came to agree that that's not the case. Like, there does need to be some layers of protections against the citizenry of the United States because people are people.
They not only need to protect our rights, but they need to protect us as well.
Yeah.
And the foundation of the Second Amendment is what I fight to protect.
Mhm.
Now, there will be layers to the Second Amendment, but it will never change. It may grow, it may become more complex to protect us from people that shouldn't have firearms. Not from ourselves, but
I got to say something real quick. Where this is going, the ultimate point that we need to point out is crime needs to be prosecuted. We don't need more laws. We have plenty.
more accountability.
We need accountability. We need to prosecute people who violate the law. Like, if some guy is out there selling Glock switches that he bought from China and he's selling them, that guy needs to go to jail. And that needs to be a hefty prison sentence.
Yeah. How many examples do you think would need to be made before people would start?
People do this because they don't get in trouble. I mean, I've heard so many times of somebody doing something like that, going online, buying illegal items from another country, shipping them in, selling them to their buddies, and then after everything is said and done, he gets charged with a misdemeanor for something, does 6 months in jail, and then he's released. It's like, that is not the example you need to set. You need to set the example of, if you were going to play these games, you were going to pay the price.
And it should be a hefty price,
Yeah.
the kind of price that makes you never want to do that again.
Right. And when you hear about it, you're like, oh man, I'm never doing that. But no, that's not the case. Like, crime is not prosecuted.
Yep. And it's a different in holding criminals accountable. We're not giving more power to our government. We are holding the government accountable
Yes.
for the power they already have.
Hmm.
You know, and I think what keeps politicians from doing that and what keeps states attorneys, judges from handing down the sentence that would be more effective is, they're what's the word I'm trying they're dishonest.
Yeah, they lie and they make up things.
Yeah, like the judges are bought.
Yep.
The lobbyists that have their pockets or their hands in the pockets of politicians and the attorneys, the crooked attorneys that try to verb or word things in a way that hangs people up and then screws up testimony in court can really ruin the judicial system. Not only does it back it up and clog things, but people walk free because of attorneys. They just
Whoever has the best attorney wins.
or the most money to buy that
Yeah.
yeah.
Whoever has the most money to have the best attorney wins. And who has the most money to get the best attorneys? The U.S. government.
So it's this
The citizen will always lose. Another thing, too, look at the history of something being sold and how often it's used to hurt people. And then make laws based on the history of that item being used to harm people. For example, suppressors, 91 years on the NFA list. 9 people have ever been hurt with a legally owned suppressor. Why are they regulated? Health and safety product. We flew with suppressors not too long ago. Flew, had them in a case. The airport security, you're supposed to declare cans, so we showed them the cans. And even the airport security they said, why are you declaring these? Do you have any guns? Do you have any bullets? No, we don't have any guns or bullets. Why are you declaring these? Well, because your airport policy says I'm supposed to declare a suppressor because it's a class 3 item. And they're like, that's dumb. What are you going to do with the suppressor? Even airport security is like, what are you going to do with that? You don't have guns or bullets.
be more dangerous with the shoe on your
Right?
This-
Should not be regulated 9 times in 91 years. Name something that's only hurt somebody 9 times in 91 years.
I mean,
A coconut is more lethal.
tractors on farms have hurt people more.
Number 1 killer in the world, mosquitoes.
Really,
Yep, malaria. Number 1 killer on planet Earth, mosquitoes.
that's scary.
Suppressors, 9 people in 91 years.
Just know we can put a can on a mosquito.
Tiny suppressor.
Yeah, don't
You
bite
would,
me.
you wouldn't even hear that.
Well, never mind. We want to hear
Yeah,
that.
we want to hear
We
them.
want to keep them outside
Bad idea.
or dead. So, it's obnoxious. I mean, what I don't understand is why you could put something like a suppressor on that list and argue the points that are argued in our government to keeping them there, but the automobile is hundreds of times more fatal and nothing is ever whispered about stopping or taking away or regulating vehicles.
Yep.
You know,
I'm looking at my list of causes of death per day in America. Drunk driving, 28 people per day.
Yeah.
Accidents, 401 people per day.
vehicle accidents?
Yes.
Wow.
Vehicle accidents, 401 people per day. How many people is that a year? Real quick math here.
It's 12,000 people?
It's a lot. Okay, 401
15.
times 365. 365 people a year die in a vehicle.
My math was way off. I was in the United States Marine Corps. Take it easy.
One too many red crayons.
Orange was my coat.
So 9 people in 91 years, 146,000 people per year. Which one is more deadly? Which one is more regulated? Suppressors are 1,000 times more regulated than vehicles are.
Yeah. It just goes to show that
That's the second time today I made you speechless.
it's It the first time was because I didn't have anything to say, like, I was just aghast, but this time it's frustrating. Like, it's
Mhm.
all about that dollar. We can tax the vehicle, everyone needs a vehicle. Life has become to the point where you need the smartphone and you need the vehicle, you know, to be successful because that's what the advertising and everything else leads us to believe.
So drunk
And
driving, 10,220 people a year die because of drunk driving per
y
year.
yep.
So times 91. So in the last 91 years, that's 930,000 people that have been killed by drunk driving. Suppressor has hurt 9. Why don't we make drunk driving illegal? I think we should pass a law and make drunk driving illegal.
Well, technically it is.
It is illegal.
Up until a point, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Every person is different, every drink is different, but it is believed by those that do it that I can consume an alcoholic beverage and I'll be fine.
Why don't we ban vehicles? I mean,
Money.
if you went out and drank and drove your vehicle and killed yourself or killed someone else, why shouldn't we ban the vehicle because one person did something bad with it? Why would you punish the masses for what one person did? That's what I don't understand about gun control. Every
We
time one person does something bad with a firearm, I'm not even talking about cans because they never have suppressors. Every time somebody does something bad with a firearm, politicians, our whole country bands together and like, that's it. We need to take all guns away from every person. And I'm screaming at my television and my blood pressure rises to the point where I think my neck is going to explode.
yeah.
Why?
It's you know, everybody knows why. It's taxed or it's regulated because it can be taxed, and that just that's money. You know, it brings money, more money into the government, takes more money from us, more money from the household, and they all argue that it's necessary for sake of safety, and it only becomes a problem every time it's an election year.
Okay. Playing devil's advocate. 10,000 people die a year from drinking and driving. For the sake of safety, why are we not banning all vehicles?
How many of those politicians drink? How many of those
All of them.
politicians drive?
All of them. Well,
Yeah,
they have a driver.
right. But they rely on it themselves.
Yeah.
It's essential for day-to-day life, so much to the point where as a matter of convenience, they don't wanna go there.
You said a word that is the exact word I was looking for.
Convenient.
Essential. So we measure things in what is essential in our life. And if it's something that I need that is essential to my life and my well being and being able to conduct business and go to work, it is deemed essential. So therefore, it is out of the category of being touched or regulated. Where people who make firearms laws, they see firearms as not essential because they don't have any, they don't own any, they don't think anyone else should own them because they don't have any. Therefore, it is not essential to the daily part of their life. They don't see safety and security as an essential need because they have bodyguards that protect them.
Yeah, it's
And that's why when one person does something bad with something, they're like, take them all because I don't have any anyways. It's not going to affect me. It's only going to affect them.
right. And those that it will affect, they'll get over
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah. But I mean, we've drifted so far where we no longer understand how our country was founded, who founded it, why it was founded, what battle we just fought to earn our freedom. And then we're so naive and ignorant, we think it will never happen again.
It will continue in that direction until something changes. And yeah, we have a president right now who I think is working to change it.
But honestly, how much can he do? I mean, he's one man. He's not the king.
Well, and I
He's
think
a president. I
yeah,
mean, we have 3 branches of government.
I think the right way to do it would be slowly over time in a bipartisan manner
Yeah.
to gain support by everybody, regardless of your political situation or your political preference. If there can be understanding, belief, and agreement on why that change should take place, then the politicians in which we're elected will represent the people in which who were elected who they will represent those who elected them properly, and the change will happen.
Yeah. You know,
It's
the only time that the gun control debate ever gets spoken about is when something bad happens. And that's when it's always thrust in the forefront. Everybody's talking about gun control this, gun control that. We need to take all the ARs. We need to take all the handguns. Should you ever make super important decisions when you are under a high level of emotional stress?
No, and I think it's you always hear about it because those who complain about it, those who think that it needs to be taken away are the loudest,
Yeah.
and that's all they do, and they only do it when something bad happens to pacify those who expect something from them. And once things have calmed down and CNN doesn't cover it as much, it goes down the river like everything else or
Hmm.
like it has every time before. And I don't know. It's just like every other situation that's on a ballot or that can be fixed. You have a large portion of this country that's too busy working or surviving to complain, to be the loudest person in the room because they're concerned with what matters.
Hmm.
Their family, their livelihood, making it from day to day. They're the ones that are at work, paying their taxes, keeping the economy going, keeping the country afloat. Meanwhile, you have all of these people who, and I shouldn't say all of these people, but a small group of people that just will not stop. And pretty soon, I think politicians get tired of hearing about it and get tired of hearing them. And so then once again, they'll stand in front of a microphone and say something to once again pacify those who just won't be quiet about it. And once the politician like Pelosi or Schumer or whoever says something and CNN covers it, it's on the news, it's out there, and the people that were the loudest in complaining about it are satisfied for a little while longer. And it's this obnoxious cycle that just doesn't ever stop because politicians they're not doing their job nor are they doing it correctly. You know, they get their paycheck, they get their amenities, you know, they go to when Congress is in session, they get free everything, free flights, free food, free haircuts, free drinks. Everything is covered for them. Meanwhile, they vote themselves a pay raise and they get paid more than most people in the states they represent. And nothing gets done. No, I would love it for a politician to just say, look, the Second Amendment is what it is. It's my responsibility, the responsibility you voted for me to protect that. But no, they run their mouths and they interpret things the way they want to interpret it just to pacify the people that will not shut up. And meanwhile, those of us who are the backbone of this country are too busy working to even turn on the TV and hear this nonsense.
Yep.
And it's gotten to the point where nobody's kept that side of the aisle in check. And that's all you hear about anymore.
Hmm.
And people wonder why Trump was elected again because the people that took time off work to come down and vote for him were of larger quantity than those that
Praise,
wouldn't,
praise God.
yeah, that wouldn't be quiet about it.
My biggest fear is that something significant is going to happen. And in the height and heat of emotion, we will have sweeping gun control across this country, just like what Australia did. Australia had a school shooting, and in the heightened emotional state, rather than using a clear mind, they said, you know what? This one bad thing happened. A lot of people were hurt and killed. We're taking these items away from the entire country. And it happened overnight. And I'm afraid that that is going to happen here sooner rather than later. But even like Dave Ramsey says in his Financial Peace University, if you have a death in the family, like if your wife dies, you are supposed to wait a minimum of 1 year before making any significant financial decisions because you'll be trying to fix yourself by making a large purchase, buying a $2.9 million house in Florida that you can't afford. That's a bad time to be making that decision. You shouldn't be under a heightened emotional stress when you make huge decisions. And that's what I think we're in for, is because every time something bad happens, it comes right to the forefront and they make a little bit more progress. And it's like, no, here we go.
Yep.
But you're supposed to wait a chunk of time before making that decision.
Right. That's a dangerous way to live.
That's how we're living. That's how we operate.
I worry, you know, like every 4 years the White House changes commander in chief, things are undone. So, you know, even if Vice President Vance takes the Oval Office in a few years, things are going to change. I don't think it will be. it won't be much different than what we're doing now. I mean, he is the vice president,
He's amazing, by the way.
yeah. Yeah,
I have a
it's
ton of respect for him.
yeah. He and Pete Hegseth would be a very
Oh
effective White
gosh.
House.
I am such a fanboy of JD Vance. Just a solid, down to earth, common sense dude.
But what if it
He is
is
not a politician. That's what I love about him. He doesn't play the games. He's not in there to get rich.
well, he's also a United States Marine.
He's a Marine.
Yeah,
He actually served our country.
yeah.
Is it me, or am I wrong to think that if you're going to hold the highest office in the land, you should have served in the military that you are going to command?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
how military rank works.
how I've always viewed it is the president of the United States is is in that rank structure.
He is in that rank
He is
structure.
your commander in chief.
He's a commander.
And to go from never serving in that uniform to
Yeah.
being number 1,
Yeah, you memorize the structure in boot camp. They make you memorize who is in your order of rank, and you go from the very bottom to the very top.
and I've always felt that the commander in chief should have military experience.
Okay, super controversial. Bill Clinton dodged the draft. Did you know that?
No. Well, no, maybe I did hear something about that.
He dodged the draft because he was a rich politician's kid, literally went to Canada, then becomes the commander in chief, head of the entire, all branches of the military. He's the man. Dodged the draft.
Others would argue he's the man for other reasons.
I remember being a kid in school and learning that little nugget of information. And I was like, how can you vote for a man that dodged the draft?
Right, but he'll turn right around and send people to the Gulf
Yes.
or send people to
How
war.
does that work?
No. There is no higher standard of coward than refusing to serve your country.
Amen.
And I say that as if the draft was posted and your number was called, you answer that call.
Amen.
If you choose to not serve your country, I respect that.
I respect that too.
And I greatly appreciate that you
Yep.
answered a higher call.
Everybody has a different path.
Right.
Not everybody needs to serve in the military.
Right.
If you didn't serve in the military, Mike and I respect you.
Yeah. I mean, you who didn't serve the military are a large part of what makes this country the way that it is and the country that we chose to serve.
Backbone of this nation
Right.
is your
You-
blue collar worker that works for a living, that wakes up in the morning, goes to work, puts food on the table for their families.
This country would not be the way that it is if everybody served.
Yep.
It would be Russia.
Exactly. Honestly, I think I'm not even going to say it because I'm going to make people mad, but I don't know.
Let's hear it.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I was going to say that guys that join the military aren't as smart as people that don't. Go ahead and punch me.
No.
I don't mean that.
No, I
I'm
know.
just saying we all have a different lot in life. Some of us have a passion to go, and some of us have responsibilities that we can't leave.
But there's also a huge advantage to leaving the military for those who want to serve.
Yes.
Having a military full of people who want to serve, who want to be there, who want to improve, who want to become a greater warrior makes an effective battlefield.
But that's not always the case. I served with a ton of guys that hated life, and you did too. And all they could do was they had a countdown calendar in their front breast pocket.
But when I went to Iraq with these young men and young women, they were as much a warrior as I was.
Being in a war situation is different. I'm talking about peacetime military.
We all went nuts.
Peacetime military is so hard. Literally, you're counting the days and you're like, I am
Yep.
leaving. But as soon as you get activated and you turn into a unit that is going to deploy, those countdown calendars are gone.
Then finally, all the suffering, all the bad meals, all
Yep.
the training that you couldn't justify matters.
Exactly. Being used for your purpose, your intended purpose.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that that's why I enjoy being a gunsmith so much, because I was a gunsmith for the United States Marine Corps. And that is where my true interest and passion for being a gunsmith started, was all of that training. I forget exactly how long it was. It was 9 or 10 weeks in Aberdeen, Maryland, in the middle of winter to become a gunsmith for the United States Marine Corps, or an armorer, as it was called.
I can
All
just imagine what that school was like.
It was a good time because
There's probably just guns everywhere and just
Well-
like a giant workshop full of belt feds and
we would march from our barracks to the chow hall, from the chow hall to the, well, we wouldn't march, it was, round step. We get
Yep.
in formation, okay, let's go, and to the schoolhouse. And it was an army base.
Round step. Hold on. Is that like moonwalking
I wish. You
backwards?
imagine a bunch of service members walking backwards.
What is round stepping?
Well, when you say, forward march
Yeah.
and it's you call the cadence. And
Okay.
round step, march, it's you just go. There's
Gotcha.
no cadence, you stay in line and you walk.
Round
Uh,
step is like a slightly less professional form of marching.
Much less professional.
Gotcha.
It's just
Okay.
if you can stay behind that person
Yep.
and covered on this person.
And just make sure that left foot's hitting when left foot's supposed to hit.
Yeah.
And boot camp, once you're at a boot camp, you never make that mistake ever again.
Yeah, it's amazing the accordion effect that happens if you're not paying attention.
Yes.
But the school, we would we would go to our schoolhouse, which was just a huge. It almost looked like it used to be the base hospital. It was a single floor, ancient linoleum hallways, and the very painful when you fall into bricks.
You just
You
described
know,
every military base on the planet.
but in my classroom, it was all retired or retirees and civilians that were the teachers. We went to the school with other Marines and then other soldiers. We were 2111s, small arms repair technicians. In the Army, it was a 21 Bravo gunsmith, I think is what they titled her, small arms maintenance tacker. But in this same massive building were tank mechanics, LAV, AAV mechanics, and just a whole bunch of different billeted positions were in this same schoolhouse to learn. The most interesting thing that I can remember going to school there, I was a private first class, and I got to sit in on lectures to the Department of Defense on new weapon systems, like the XM8. It was pitched. The XM8 was an ambidextrous charging handle, ambidextrous ejection port, assault rifle that was being seriously considered to replace the M16.
That was invented by DARPA.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was astounding how I got to go condition 1 with we walked through this door into the indoor shooting range, and we all got to shoot a magazine, and I felt like Halo.
You got to shoot one?
I got to shoot an XM8.
Come on.
Yeah. And it was kind of fun because we got the option of you can go. I think it was a holiday weekend or something, and I didn't have anyone near, but I don't remember exactly what kept me there, but I was there with 2 other non-NCOs to sit in on and listen to this whole. I think it was like a lecture of disassembly, the individual parts and how they are advanced over the M16 and why it would be an advantage to all branches of the military to make this change. And apparently, it was just one drop in the bucket of all that goes into consideration to this
Mhm.
change. And ultimately, what led to them not making it, I think, was the cost. The unit cost was like 3 times the M16. And it was a polymer, almost everything was polymer. And they argued that it would have lasted forever. And we know now at this point, the polymer is not all that it's cracked up to be. It will wear, sometimes it will wear faster than aluminum. But yeah, I got to grab one, go into the gun range and shoot it. And it was astounding how much more controllable the recoil was, much less muzzle rise. It was almost like it was a CZ pistol. Like the CZ75B is designed in a way that helps control recoil. And I didn't make that connection at the point when I was 18, 19 years old, but I remember very clearly how the the sights on that firearm were a headache. I didn't like them, but I remember the recoil was so manageable where you could almost just look down the barrel
Yeah, and just shoot it with
and
one hand.
yeah. Well, I kept it in my but I didn't necessarily look through the sights because it was you spend years looking through an M16, which, the sights are on top of the carrying handle. This was a similar fashion, but it had a sweeping charging handle. And I don't know why. Maybe it was just because it was so different from what I was used to. I had just gotten out of boot camp and combat school, and the M16 was my rifle. And it was a lot of fun to shoot something different, and it was interesting to be a small part of that experience. And maybe it was that I wasn't ready to give up the M16A2 service rifle that I had just become so familiar with, but it was fun. And I'll never forget how that charging handle was spring loaded and sat to the front, and you had to grab it and charge it. And as you'd let it go, it'd spring straight back to the front, and the rounds would eject out the bottom. And I thought that was great because I hated those stupid casings hitting me in the face coming out the right side of that gun because I'm left handed. And someday it would be really neat if there's one out there that I could ever afford to just own it. I don't even know how many were ever produced, but I do remember that.
Talking about XM8s?
Mhm.
Never seen one.
Never. That's too bad.
You can't buy one.
Yeah, darn it. But yeah, the schoolhouse was fun, and I don't remember why we went down this rabbit hole, but yeah, that's
So you were playing with guns. Real quick story, let me tell you. My schooling was a lot different than yours, dude.
a lot of water.
Dude, fresh out of boot camp, went straight to Groton, Connecticut for submarine school. Went through A school, which you learn all the subsystems like steering and diving, hydraulic planes, all of this, the nuclear power propulsion system, the steam turbine system. So you have to study and memorize all these systems. And then they send you over to C school where it's hands on. So they teach you about damage control and flooding and whatnot. But they have a flooding trainer there. It's a 20-foot by 10-foot room. It's full of pipes. It looks like an engine room. There's a diesel engine in the middle, and there's flanges and piping going everywhere. There's little to no room for a human being in there. So they put 8 of us in there, 8 of us in there at one time, and they close a watertight hatch. And they're like, all right, fellas, training's about to begin. So they blow one of the pipes in the room, and there's just tons of water pouring out of it. So you got to climb up 10 feet off the floor, and you're trying to wrap strapping around it and clamp it down to stop the flooding, and then another pipe bursts, and you run over there and you're clamping it down, and then a high pressure flange starts to spray water out, and you got to get out your wrenches, your tool bag, and you're tightening down these flanges. Well, this flooding trainer is designed to never succeed for the people inside of it. So they literally flood this room to about 6 inches from the roof. So the entire room is filled with water up to about 6 inches. And finally, you're hanging on the pipes and you're just trying to suck a couple of breaths of air in the top of the ceiling. And then they start draining the room. And they're like, all right, y'all failed. Let's try again.
It sounds like trying to live life without God.
I'm telling you, man, claustrophobia, fear of drowning, like they're going straight towards all of your fears. And they use these trainers to determine if you are suitable for the submarine force. At any point, if you have a bad day and you say, I can't do this, you go to the surface fleet. You're done in the submarine force.
If that happens to you, do you get to pick where you go?
No,
You
they
go where you
send you're a dirt bag and they send you to the surface fleet and they pick the worst duty for you.
probably a bosun's mate.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that works. They also have a fire trainer like that. You go into a room, they set portions of it on fire. You're wearing an SCBA. And actually, back then, we had these cylinders that went inside and you'd rack the bale. And then you had 2 artificial lungs on both sides that would fill with breathable oxygen. So it was a contained unit. You don't have to be plugged in anything. You don't have a tank on you. It was a chemical reaction that happened in this canister that produced oxygen. In there fighting this fire. And when the smoke starts rolling in, you're in a 20-foot by 10-foot room. Claustrophobia, smoke rolling in. Now you can only see this much. And all you can see is the glow of the fire, and you're trying to put water on fire. And you're like, how long is this hell going to last? I mean, a lot of guys tapping out from that. And then the underwater escape trainer, terrifying,
I've done some of that.
terrifying.
I mean, mine was probably much more manageable than yours.
Was yours the rolled over helicopter upside down in a pool?
I did the CH-4 and the Blackhawk and the Humvee.
A rolled over Humvee
Humvee and
in water?
yeah, they
I've
have
never
a
even heard of that.
they got the Humvee and the MRAP shell on a unit that sits like on a on a
Roller
spit.
cage.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it would go whoop, or it would sometimes it would fall and then tip as it sank.
How deep would they put you under the water?
I know the entire unit was submerged, and then
Okay.
when I would come out of it, you'd have to kick it for a few moments at least to get to the surface. And we had, I think at one time I counted 6. There had to be more scuba certified. I'm guessing they were, Navy divers that were in their
Yeah.
trainer to keep us alive.
Make sure nobody panicked and decided to try to breathe water for the first time.
Yeah, but it never scared me. Like it was a challenge. Maybe it was the peace of mind in knowing that they would never put us in a situation where they would let us die. But it was like everything else in the military up until that point was a ditty or a process of steps. And you had instructions and you'd follow these instructions and you'd be fine. You wait until the body of water is full and then you unsecure your seatbelt. And while that's happening, you check yourself for injury. Am I okay? Is everyone else okay? Station that I have before I leave this unit, can I render aid or help pull somebody unconscious from the vehicle? And once the unit the vehicle or the aircraft body was full, then you can release and exit, and you exit the closest exit possible. In the Humvee, it was like, "Turn right." It was
Yeah.
right there.
Turn right.
Yeah, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. Maybe it was because it was a day out of the armory.
That's true.
Yeah.
Those trainings were always kinda like a breath of fresh air
Yep.
because it's like, "I'm not in the classroom today, yes."
Yeah, and you're playing in the water in Southern
Yeah.
California. You get a little bit more leniency, especially when your instructors are all different branches. Like when you have the Air Force teaching you things, it's you can be a bit of a smart ass, get away with it.
The submarine escape trainer, they actually shut it down because a whole bunch of people died.
Ooh,
So it was a 150-foot tower, and you would be in the bottom of it in water. And then you would practice putting on your stanky hood, which had 2 breaths of oxygen in it. And then you would go from the bottom of that 150-foot tower up to the top of the 150-foot tower. And they train you to expel the air out of your lungs as you ascend. Because if you hold your breath, the oxygen in your lungs will actually get forced into your bloodstream and give you the bends because gas expands as it rises. So they teach you to do that. So I got into the modified escape trainer. So we were in an escape trunk out of a submarine, which is big enough to hold 3 men. And you're like this, and your shoulders are touching with 3 other men. It's only about yay big around. And you're in there, and they shut the door, seal the hatch, and they start to fill this room with water while you have your stanky hood on. So you got this uninflated vest and your face is covered by plastic. You can see through it, and there's only 2 breaths of oxygen in there. And you sit in this little tiny space as they slowly fill it with water up over your head. And then they pressurize the inside of the chamber with the exterior pressure, whatever the sea pressure would be. And then once the pressure is equalized, the outer door will open, and then you swim out and then you're in the bottom of a 50-foot pool. So I got the sanitized version of this, but still you're under 50 feet of water. And then you come out and you just float to the surface and you say, ho, ho, ho
to fully
on
exhale.
your way out.
Of the pool or up the 50 foot?
If you're stuck on the bottom of the ocean, you say, ho, ho, ho on your way out. And that forces all the air out of your lungs
And you've got 2 breaths of air
in your mask.
for the whole way.
Yes. And you have to breathe your air out. You're not supposed to hold it or take any in.
Yeah, that's intense.
It was awesome. I loved every minute of it
Yeah.
too.
Well, it's astounding. There's a bit of excitement that comes with learning something most others can't learn.
And the cool thing about it is I think every young man or woman wants nothing more than to be tested.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was down. I was like, "You know what? Test me, sift me. I wanna know what I'm made of. I wanna find the spot where I say, 'No, I can't do that.'" I'm searching for this.
You ever gone spy rigging?
Spy rigging.
Yeah.
What is that?
Where they pick you up on a rope and carry you off in a helicopter?
I wish.
That's cool.
Have you done that? Come on.
Yeah, I
So
did it.
you're dangling underneath of a chopper?
Yeah,
How high off the ground?
we didn't go very high. It it
100 feet, 150 feet, 300 feet?
it was above the barracks.
They did that a lot in Vietnam, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, it was during the best fitness the best shape I was ever in the Marine Corps. It was near the time where I was planning on, making my decision of getting out or reenlisting.
Mhm.
And I wanted to go try Anglico Recon. And they had a few days where it was kind of a trial. Like, here, let's give you a taste of this.
Okay.
I don't even know necessarily if it was supposed to be part of the training, but I was a sergeant, and being an armorer, I knew a lot of the staff NCOs and a lot of the commands well because I was part of the contact team and I had to sign off on gauging and inspecting all their weapons, especially with recon and any crew served weapons they may have. I'd spend a lot of time up there with my contact team, a lot more time than anywhere else because if things were deadlined, they were a priority, especially in the middle of the Afghan war, OIF, OEF. And we had been running up and down the mountains in mop level suit and a gas mask, and I held on. I didn't fall out, and I kept with the best of them. And we found ourselves in the evening, the 6 of us that were there as part of the training, you know, watching. I don't it wasn't 22 area, but it was near the flight line. The reconnaissance, you know, I don't know, was it 3rd recon? They were doing their spy rigging, and it was just awesome because the helicopter would land, and then all of a sudden you'd see these little green ACOG eyeballs start to appear out of the bushes, and then they'd clip, and it was like orchestrated or synchronized swimming because as the first person would clip, he'd get up a little bit, and the second person would clip, and then they would do it, and then the whole fire team or the whole unit would be suspended, and then they'd come back down, and then by the end of the night, they were doing it while moving. While the helicopter would just, what do you call it, travel forward, they'd come out and hook up, and then it was all synchronized. And that was the whole purpose of training, was to get them out of there with little time of that helicopter being a target as possible. And the next day, when we got done with our like third fitness test or PFT of the day, the captain said, "I saw you all watching us last night with the spy rigging. Um, you think you can manage that?" I was like, "Yeah." When deep down, I was like, I doubt it. But if this is an invitation, yeah, I can do it.
That's awesome.
And so
You got a chance to do it?
the unit that was there, the recon Marines, they did it just like they did the night before, to the point where it was synchronized and it was instant and it was awesome. For us that had never done it before, the cable came out of the helicopter and the helicopter hovered for like 10 minutes while we're sitting there trying to get our stupid carabiners connected correctly. And then they pick us up off the ground and
Imagine the pilot is like, "Come
yeah.
on, Nancy. Come on, Nancy. Let's go."
Yeah, I couldn't, what the hell was going on down there,
We got the B team out here tonight.
or the C or the D, or the Make-A-Wish Foundation down
Yeah.
there trying to help people get off the
We
ground.
got the replacements out here.
But we did it twice, and it was exciting, but it was getting dark, and, would I ever wanna do it again? Probably not.
Yeah.
Too much of my body hurts to wanna dangle like that,
Yeah.
but it was exciting, and it was a lot of fun, and then I realized, um a few days later that, I met my wife and ultimately it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Spoke into more detail with some of the Marines that were, reconnaissance or Anglico recon at the time. And they were like grunts. You lived in a squad bay. You didn't know what 1 month to the next was gonna entail. And I wasn't as gung ho at 8 years as I was at a boot camp. I did it, and I got the invitation, and I went ahead and took orders to a different base, and then ultimately got out. It was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, so
With that, dude, it's been an hour.
they go fast.
What did we even talk about tonight?
A lot of little things.
Bro.
Aliens, flat
Oh,
Earth.
flat Earth. I cannot wait to see the comments on the flat Earth stuff.
Yeah,
Seriously, y'all, let me know what you think. Is the Earth flat? Question mark.
I really hope a lot of people
I do too.
comment.
I secretly hope there's a whole bunch of people that are like, "I've always known the Earth is flat." Please.
And if there are comments and those who argue the Earth is flat, defend your argument.
Yeah.
Let's hear what you've got to say.
I could appreciate that my friend actually had specific reasons that made him believe that, and I was like,
Right.
"That's interesting." He
Yeah.
actually backed it up with some knowledge. I think he's maybe misinterpreting this knowledge.
Yep. To talk about the four corners of anything means to be thorough and cover all of it.
Correct.
Like an Earth, when you go to the four corners of the Earth,
Yeah.
you're going to be right back to where you
It
started.
means a total gathering
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
entire Earth. I
But
agree with you.
the Earth as the stepping stool means to be the heavens are
Yes.
out of here.
It's literally saying if the Earth is the footstool, that means that our plane of existence is so small and our God is so big.
And we are beneath him.
We are beneath him.
Yep.
Yes, that's what that means. It doesn't mean that it's a square. I mean, but I'm not trying to disrespect
I
anybody.
mean, you go to IKEA and they've got round stepping stools.
Yeah, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't judge him or make fun of him. I was just like, wow, that is really interesting. I've
Yeah.
never actually met a real flat earth believer.
And I'm glad we live in a country where you can have those kinds of beliefs and not get arrested.
Yeah, exactly. You can believe what you want.
And I respect that.
It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change our friendship.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you know you've got a great friendship. You
Yeah.
can be absolute best friends with weirdos and call them a weirdo. And
I have a
Uh,
lot of weirdo friends.
yeah. And
Mike.
I'm just fine being one of them. I'm not perfect. But real quick, I often do this to us, but we are the Northern Minutemen.
Minute.
And I know I'm wearing the same watch I wore last Sunday because I did go to church with my wonderful family today, and it was
That's
the
awesome.
first time in months I'd gone to church at Northern Bible Church in Bemidji, and it was an amazing service. But yeah, I like I'd mentioned last Sunday, I wear this watch when I go to church because my wife needs to see me wear it. It was a gift,
Proud of you, man.
and
Stick with it.
yeah, and it's a wonderful watch. It's the Citizen Eco Drive. But I did get one of my favorite watches in the mail this week. I ordered this when Luminox was having a Black Friday sale, and I almost thought I wasn't gonna get it because I stacked it with a GovX discount, and I got 85% off the watch.
Holy moly.
I think I sent you a screenshot of it,
You did.
but it was the most expensive watch I'd ever purchased outright that was not on the Watch King, and yeah,
What model of Luminox is that?
it's one of their dive watches. Let me grab it
It's
here.
sharp. It actually kind of looks like a Rolex green dial, kind of like a Rolex Submariner, about the same size. I really like the painted dial on it. That is nice. You're keeping me in suspense over here. Come on, man.
I I'm having a moment of stupid. I think I'm gonna have to look it up because I know,
Yeah, the tag just has the UPC on it. I won't tell you the name.
and I'll sorry, I'll keep you all in suspense here and drag out this ending like I
To
like to do.
Minnesota goodbye. Is that what this is?
Yeah, I guess I'm more Minnesotan than I want to admit, but it's just a beautiful watch. One thing I really like about the Luminox watches is they're forever illuminated. Like it's got that nice,
Tritium that doesn't fade.
but this is the Automatic Sport Timer 42 millimeter dive watch. It was a watch that I'd wanted from them for a while, and it was an expensive watch. And I don't know if they discontinued it or what, but it it prices it at about $2,000 without any discounts, and I found it on their website for 60% off, and then GovX gives you a 15% code, and I thought, "Let's just try enter this and see what happens," and it worked, and I ordered it, and I showed it to my wife, and she's like, "Is that what you want for Christmas?" I'm like, "Well, yes," and she said, "Well, Merry Christmas," and I thought, "Oh, you're not supposed to you're not supposed to buy your own Christmas present."
Yeah, but
So,
that usually is exactly what happens.
yeah, and I get it, it's okay. You know, being married to my wife gives me much more than a watch ever could. She's just awesome.
Yeah,
And one thing I love about her the most is the energy she puts into being a mother. And during the holidays, that gets amplified.
yeah.
And I appreciate that any energy I would expect or hope would go into me and my gift goes into our children. You know, because the Christmas cheer and the wonder faded for me as the adult. But I love seeing it in my kids. So I can appreciate the any energy she would have would go to our kids, which is where it should go. You know, I don't want to take that wonder from them. But anyway,
Christmas cheer faded? Why?
because I lived in a home with, you know, my parents divorced, and I don't know. I remember as a little kid with my mom and my dad both at home, and my brother Clayton. You wake up in your footsie pajamas, and you can't wait to see what present you got, and you didn't care what you got, but because somebody got you a present, and you know they're there, and it's all the whole family was there, and the presents got opened, and it was part of that Christmas experience.
Yeah.
And then parents divorced. My mom went off and did whatever she did with Clayton, and my dad remarried and remarried someone that had 4 kids of her own. So then I'm sure the money got tight. And when you live in a home with half the people that don't want you there, it's hard to,
Makes sense.
you know. And Christmas just wasn't what it was,
Yeah.
and it was more like an obligation. Now, don't get me wrong. I never went without my parents. You know, my stepmom. I call her mom. I always had a present.
I think that we should redefine what Christmas is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And
so Christmas, birth of our Savior, is the hope of mankind. And I think when I became a believer 17 years ago, Christmas to me had a fire lit inside of it. For me, Christmas is like when you're a kid, it is all about the gifts and the presents and the wonderment and the snow and the tree and all that jazz.
just break from
And Christmas break from school, yeah, it's like an exciting time. But when you are a believer, it's like, dude, Christmas has nothing to do with any of that. I mean, it's the birth of our Savior and it's a birthday party for the savior of the world. And he came into this world as a man. He lived a perfect sinless life and he defeated the power of death. And therefore, we have no fear of death because he defeated the power of death. And it's like, dude, Christmas is like, it's like the Super Bowl. Easter is the Super Bowl of the Christian faith.
And
Christmas is like, it's the beginning of the
sure.
Christian faith.
Yeah, and Pastor Wall today at church spoke of, uh, in the death of Jesus Christ, we now have equity.
We
We have
equity that we didn't earn.
and could never earn,
Yeah,
but that
we
that equity guarantees us,
yeah, exactly.
um,
We have
heaven.
we paid nothing in it to get these dividends.
Yep, and Christmas is a reminder of that.
Yeah,
You know, that was the birth of that one that gave us that equity.
but I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, because
Yeah.
when you're a kid and it's not explained to you, and it's presents and it's family weirdness, and people get angry during Christmas, and I don't know, there's financial strain and
Yep,
financial burdens, and
yep.
it all play. We're humans, but
Well, it's like now that I'm the father of 5 kids and I have all the bills and I take on all that worry,
yeah, that's real
yeah,
life,
I try my best to budget throughout the year for Christmas so that when it comes time to buy the presents, it's not going on a credit card and
right?
it's not further undoing any ground a person makes during the year.
Amen.
But sometimes it doesn't always work out, and I'm not going to keep that Christmas experience from my children because of my lack of planning. And I know every household is different, but yeah, it's still like you're gritting your teeth a little bit. Why am I taking money out of my savings account to buy
Right.
more junk for my kids?
Dude, I totally agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
Christmas has been the world does that. The
Yep.
world will take something that has meaning and it will commercialize it and turn it into this. You're a terrible father if you don't give an expensive gift to all
Right.
7 of your children.
Yep. Yep.
That's the world.
And I don't know. I really wish I could tell.
And we live in that world.
Yeah. And
So,
tell all of it to pound sand.
exactly.
And going back to my wife being the mother that she is with the Christian faith and her, I had a broken upbringing, but Kate had an amazing home. Her parents, she went to church. I mean, it was an
So, you guys are an amazing balance.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I learned so much from her on how to be a better father,
Yeah.
parent, member of the church, friend, anything. And I wasn't always like this.
It's almost like God knew the perfect helpmate for you.
Yeah, I could never do enough to justify her or I don't know. The older I get, the more I appreciate my wife, the more I wonder, did you fall and hit your head?
Yeah.
Why am I your husband? She's amazing. But the Christmas experience that she gives our children is not Santa Claus and reindeer.
Yeah.
It's Jesus in a manger,
Yep.
the whole nativity scene. And we go to church on Christmas Eve and yeah, that is what I didn't have. And I always wanted to make sure I give my children what I didn't have and to keep them from what I had.
Exactly.
And how do I do that? I just turn to Kate and ask,
Yep.
let's give them what you had. How do we do that? What I always wanted as a kid, my wife had. So that contrast is there. I don't want my kids to go through this. I
Mhm.
want them to go through that.
Yeah, and you have your hands on the helm of that ship. You do. You have total control over it.
But I'm
And
I'm looking over my shoulder saying, "Where to next?"
and that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
we go
You're
from here.
you're not screaming, "I'm running this thing aground."
Yeah, and what helps me in making my decisions today is constantly asking myself, where would I be today had I always thought this way about my wife? Had I always thought this way about faith and finances? And I made a lot of mistakes, and I use those mistakes today to do better tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, so but anyway,
We gotta shut this thing down.
yeah. Quick, tell us about your watch. I see you're wearing.
I'm wearing the hair that I wore last week. I love this watch. It's comfortable. It's flashy. It's also my church watch. But yeah, same one I was wearing last week. I didn't feel like changing it up. But yeah, that's our episode of this podcast.
And the last thing I want to say is I wear these glasses not because it's cool, but because the light really bothers my eyes. And being a diabetic, my vision is taking a hit. So I'm able to sit here and enjoy myself with these awesome glasses. Um,
No judgment.
yeah. So anyway, that's why I wear them.
Right on.
So
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you spending time with Mike and I in this podcast. This adventure, and make sure you join us next week. Gonna have some really fun stuff to talk about next week. I got a feeling.
Yeah, look forward to it.
I do too. I look forward to it too.
Cool.
So thanks, everybody.